Hi, and welcome to Hypothetically Intentional, where we ask the question, what if we set intentions with everything you do? I'm your host, Michelle Avers, and today we are sitting at what I don't even know the name of this airport. Incheon Airport in South Korea, traveling back from our Live Like a Local foodie Chiangmai, Thailand 2024 tour. I'm not sure that you would call it a tour, but and so
event of a lifetime.
So I have special guests with me today. I have Kun Dan, I have Kun Becky, I have Kun Jody, and I have Kun Joel. And my intention for today, because I always start with an intention, is to, well, for one, try not to cry, and for two, to hear everybody's experience of this trip. It was I know how Thailand works for me, but it was beautiful and magical for me to bring new people to introduce them to my home away from home. Anybody want to start, kick it off, have something they want to share? Ideas are like, what maybe were your expectations before you got here? What challenged you the most? What surprised you the most? What were your favorite parts? Anything you want to share, I'm open to hearing. Mm-hmm. Big questions.
It's just been so much that, it's been 2.5 weeks, and I'm like trying to even remember like the first couple of days. What did we even do?
This is Kun Becky, by the way.
Yeah. But it's just been, it's been fabulous. I guess I don't know where to begin. We ate and we ate and we ate and we ate, and then we saw a bunch of cool stuff. Yeah, it was just extremely educational on so many fronts.
What were the first 2 days like for you, adjusting, taking it in?
Well, kind of like, getting over the jet lag, of course, which kind of always makes things feel a little bit weird the first couple of days. But I was excited about it. Like, I really could see all the possibilities right when we got there. And we, we went right in. We did not...
Yeah,
we didn't hang out for a while. We went head first, which was really good because then it was
it was enforced shock treatment.
It was. Yeah, I don't know.
How about you, Kun Jody?
Kun Joel.
Yeah. So this is Kun Joel. What I was going to say is it felt like returning back to Panama only because the similarities were the tropics, the humidity, the chaos, the language, the foods. Everything seemed local, and it was just it was a reshock to my system to adjust to it. And then it took a couple of days, and it's like, oh, okay, this is how it works. You just kind of go with it. And we were joking about always say yes or never say no, which is absolutely the truth. You just kind of got to go with the flow. And I will say, too, before I forget, because we are in the airport right now, what do we call it? The what hotel?
The transit hotel.
The transit hotel is the best damn thing ever because you can sleep in between so you're not totally jet lagged. So that's like one of the best things you can do on this trip.
Say yes to the transit hotel
say yes
on your layover.
Best $120 we've spent in a long time.
So this is Kun Jody, and I want to go back to the beginning because knowing Michelle and knowing her love for Thailand, when they posted on Facebook that this trip was becoming available, and it was to live like a local and experience from your eyes.
Yeah.
Yep, there's the emotions. Yesterday was my cry day. Today wasn't going to be. But Joel and I said yes in 30 minutes, and then we went through I went through the process of a lot of things came up during the course of after saying yes that I went, oh wait, maybe, nope, and now so glad that we rearranged and shuffled back and did this. It was definitely outside the comfort zone, and that was why I chose it, was for the adventures, and then to have hosts that can hold your hand and throw you into shit that you don't know what you're getting into. And sometimes that was, the first week we really went at it. For me, that was tiring and somewhat challenging the pace was hard, at first. I'm older than the rest of them. I'll claim that. But just pace wise, it's a lot. But it was also good because then by the time we got through that, we were really acclimated and we like knew our way around and stuff. But what was it? Elephant Day. I think I had just like. I don't know that if I wouldn't. I didn't want to get up. I really needed a day by then. But the experiences have been utterly amazing. And the people that you know here and the relationships that you've built and are building are phenomenal. And this was the only way I would have done a trip like this.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that was my biggest intention. It wasn't about like this is a business trip and I'm going to make a bunch of money bringing people to Thailand. This was like I'm inviting you into the home of my friends and I'm introducing you to my teachers who are also hold dear places in my heart, and you're going to come into the family, so to speak, and we're going to drop in and see where that takes us. And when Kune is involved, you never know where that's going to take you. Is it a Thai stop or a Japanese stop or an American stop or a European stop? They all have their own connotations based on her definitions of those things, and they're all magical.
And she really likes surprises. She likes to keep you guessing.
Yeah, and I think that's very intentional on her part. I think it's the biggest way she can show you her culture.
Yeah.
Because if she tells you everything that's happening step by step, we have a tendency to say no.
Or have preconceived ideas.
Or to have
exactly. And that influences how you experience it. Yeah,
That's for sure.
Well, and as an example of that, because we're recording this just after Thanksgiving, so we had this Thanksgiving meal. We had another couple that was staying at the guest house. We had Kune, Pulur, I forget the other names of a couple of the relatives, and then all of our group, and Josiah was there. But it was just this, I made a post that I think this is like one of the best Thanksgivings ever that we had, because we were involved in the meal prep. We got to, it was like this instant family that, even though I don't feel emotions very often, it was actually very touching, because it was this embrace that it felt like an extended family that you don't normally ever experience on a trip or a vacation.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That's amazing.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
It was.
and by that time in the trip, we had all bonded so much too that it felt like a Thanksgiving dinner. I mean,
really did.
Yeah.
It was really a celebration.
It was the spirit of it.
It
much
totally
more than I
was.
think we experience with our own families sometimes.
Just don't
So-
make durian pina coladas. Just don't. And then don't spill it on the table.
Mel is going to be with me forever.
But the tamarind whiskey sours, that was an experiment that worked.
And Dan, you can make that pork dish anytime.
Yeah, both of
Oh my
both
God.
of those are really good.
Oh my gosh, that first one I had never experienced before, and I was like, "What is this magical cold pork salad with?" It had pork, cucumber. What else was in there?
Lemongrass, shallots, garlic, tamarind, fish sauce, sugar, lime.
Yeah, it was like this amazing, I don't know, explosion on
good.
your palate that was like so light and refreshing and yet filling all at the same time.
And
How about
yet
you?
was different than some of the other cold salads.
Yeah.
Like it had its own unique flow to it that I really, zone to it that I really loved.
Well, I think Dan officially was like honored or like given the label of like Thai chef, because Pisom was like
Yeah.
it's perfect, and then he broke down the flavor profile and how it's supposed to break down, and he's like, sometimes Thai people, they make it too sweet, but you got it exactly. And I was like, oh, he was all over that.
They had a few tests.
Yep, they were testing you for sure.
Oh yeah, they had me cook the lob a couple days earlier, because a lot of it is just being familiar with the product, how they do it versus how we do it. Because it's, if you cook French food, it's very this. If you cook this, and I was talking to her about that at Thanksgiving. We were off in the corner, and she had said, every Koreans cut their vegetables this way, and she said everybody's very, very different. And
Kune?
so, yeah. And so it was. Even when I was going through, I think you were there when Pilu was asking me how I do my limes And
yes.
he didn't like how I did it.
He did not. He showed you the right way to do it.
And then I showed him how I did it, and he goes, "Oh." And I go, I put in a separate dish. It's how you get the seeds out. That's all it is. How do you get the seeds out?
Yeah.
But there's just culturally.
There's a right way and a wrong way.
Yeah. It's interesting just to. So yeah, they had me cook 3 separate times, and like each time was like, oh, well, here's this. See what are you doing? Apparently I passed.
Wow.
Because she's now said I can retire.
Well, I can't wait till you take her up
So
on
whatever,
that.
so whatever test they did, apparently I passed.
Yeah.
So in other words, if you come here often enough, you become a Renaissance chef.
Yeah.
Pretty much is what I'm hearing.
Or a farmer. I'm
Yeah,
not
or
sure
a
what.
farmer, either way. Yeah.
She knows I like to stay busy, so she's like, I have house on the farm.
Needs a lot of work.
Probably, yeah. You do construction?
Yep, or you do construction, right?
You can fix that.
You can fix it.
Yeah.
I think the thing that was interesting for me, as this being like my 5th time there, 2nd time staying at that same place, was how they modified the food,
Yeah.
where they took us based on our comfort level as we dropped in and got more and more comfortable with their culture. It's almost like if you're not gonna like enjoy their culture, they'll modify it to your level of comfort, whatever that is. Our food got less and less Americanized.
Yeah.
I mean, that one day I felt like we had a second like pro chef dinner.
Yeah.
I mean, and then it just kept getting better and better from there. I'm not saying they weren't all that way, but he kept just like shining. And I was like, oh, dude, why you been holding back on us?
Yes.
Yeah, it was like he had permission from us to tap into his cultural roots
for it.
and from
Exactly.
You
northern
think about
Thailand.
how many people come there and just want an American experience in Thailand.
Stay in the big
And so
hotel.
that's
Or
that's
just don't have
what
the
they're.
time to do anything else.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
you know, if you only got 3 days,
Yeah.
you have to pick and choose a
Yeah.
lot.
And I think that was maybe one of the reasons they showed up so differently too, is they realized we were a group that was staying for more than 3 days, which means they get to share more with us. They get to take us places and
Well, when we didn't know our last time staying with them was the longest anybody ever stayed with them.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Have they had guests since then? I thought they had spoken about other people.
Yes, but not for as long.
Oh.
Because you
it's
guys
just-
stayed a month.
Yeah.
yeah,
so
we stayed the
a full month
full
with them.
visa.
Yeah.
And they, now I was talking to them, and they said that typically people stay 2 to 3 days,
Yeah.
and
That's
you
how it
go, oh,
felt.
yeah,
Watching people
just
come
watch
and go,
people
yeah.
come and go. So it's a whole different experience, sitting into a city
Yeah.
and just kind of that first week you kind of get the pace of the city and kind of get your feet underneath you, and then that second. And then for us, the 3rd and 4th week, when we go longer trips, the city just continuously changes.
Yeah.
And it's hard to convey that to somebody on week 1. It's like, just keep going. It'll
Keep going.
Yeah.
click.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about how completely different week 2 was for
Yeah.
us too, because and it was like partly just because it was the tours were booked and there was time things and there was a lot of schedules to manage and you just had to go, right? And then when it got to okay, now when do you want your massage? Do you want to go to the market or not? We might do this, we might do that, and it was just like then that really was, then the vibe was there, and our community spirit inside the open kitchen.
Yeah.
I think it was palpable from the street.
Yeah.
And okay, we'll just
Yeah.
have to speak to
People
our
stepping
what
up.
we're calling a Thai style progressive dinner, where you guys had been at the park all day that I chose not to go along with, and so I thought, oh, they're going to be hungry when we get home. I'm going to treat them to pizza, and then nobody wanted pizza, or you guys had already eaten. So I was like, okay, they don't want pizza, but Pilong orders me a pizza. So we started with one simple Hawaiian pizza outside, which then turned into making. No, you must bring that inside. And now there's 2 salads on the table. And now Josiah is there. And then Who else came in?
Louis.
Louis showed up around 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
and
and
then
a couple of people walked in from the street thinking we were having a party. It's like, okay.
And the food just kept coming, and then Pilur's friend comes with, and then they've got this delicious chicken, and we're all eating all night long and laughing so hard. That was just truly the magical dinner party energy flow where it could have just gone on for 5 hours and it would have felt like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was so fun, but that magic that was created by this vibe and this energy. And I will say, I think we all traveled pretty damn well together.
Yeah.
So,
I did.
Yeah.
It's a
And
big
Josh,
ask.
you too. And Josh, you too.
Yeah.
Yes, we got to say, and cool on Josh, but he had to leave a little bit early, so he missed some of that end of the week stuff. And it just
Which
it all
was the
worked out.
best stuff, Josh.
Oh, I'm sorry, Josh.
yeah. Too bad for you, Josh.
The Andy Rickards private chef dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, the food just kept those last couple of days. The food was just like off the charts every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
But the other thing that was really nice though was having the flexibility. If we were just wiped or something, it's like no, just can't do that. And it was other than
okay.
that scheduled tour, which the nice part is we had those planned out. But if it was like you just I gotta get some sleep, I can't take it anymore. Or, I'm done talking with all of you. It's
my
like
bubble.
sometimes
Yeah,
it's
need
like,
to be in my
but
bubble.
that was fine too. And
all
it's
good.
like whatever, all good.
Yeah.
And that was a
good.
great vibe to have instead of you gotta do this, you gotta be on task.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a thing. Take care of yourself.
I've definitely done other trips that were stay on task.
Rigid,
You had to be at this place at this time. And there is some value to that because you do, I don't know, you learn a lot about the place where you are, but it does not feel authentic. It feels just like this is what they're presenting to the world. And if you take your own time and see the things that you want to see, it changes. I don't know, it's different.
Yeah. Yeah. We were talking about it this morning, even. We were talking about, Thai people would describe their culture as relaxed and easy, sabai. It's just easy going, but it really is active relaxation. It's not like you sit around and put your feet up and like just, do nothing. It's like there's always something to do. There's always someone coming in saying, hey, let's, you want to do this? We're going to arrange it for you. And there's not a lot of you can choose to sit around if you want to, but there's not a lot of that at least not when you're dropped into this place.
Not at
Someone
this
will
place.
come out and say, hey, we got this idea. We want to show you this thing. It's one of our favorite parts of our culture. Let's go.
It feels like they are very spontaneous all the time, which we as Americans are not. I think I don't know.
We tend to
That's
stay-
my life anyway. Because
We're by nature, I think we're a little more rigid, and our culture is a little more rigid or structured.
yeah,
But
and I
that's
feel like
how it is.
we have so many obligations that we just, even if we want to be spontaneous, it just I don't know.
We're not trained to be loose.
Yeah.
It's not
we-
part of our culture.
We tend to stay in our routines, stay in our lanes,
Yeah.
kind of do the same thing.
Well, and by design, her place, she was kind of funny. She says, we're not a 5-star resort. You want that? Go to Shangri-La, which is a super expensive, high-dollar place. We are a homestay.
But hers
was
was
home.
hers was one of the nicest places I think we could have stayed there.
Yeah.
It really was.
When we came back, so we had chosen the middle to take 3 days because I wanted to see the ocean while we were on this side of the world. So we went out to this place called Koh Samui, an island in the North China Sea. And we had 3 days there, and it was a nice 3 days, very, very nice 3 days. But boy, we were like, we want to get back home. We missed you guys. We felt like we were coming back home.
Yeah.
The resort mirroring what we had at Kuna's was like night and day. It's like that's all nice enough, but this was home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The contrast was good because then it made the second week even more special for us.
Yeah, and it was
So-
nice to get to the ocean and do something different, but it rained there a lot too.
Yeah.
So, but that was really palpable. It's like, whoa, look at this, the whole resort experience was so sterile next to
Yeah.
being able to walk in and pour my own coffee in the morning, or
Right.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
when do you want your breakfast? Oh, I don't know. Let me have my coffee first.
Yeah. Do you feel like? Okay.
Oh, I was just going to say a couple of quick notes on the tech. Grab, probably the single most helpful app of the
Yeah.
bunch that you had suggested just for travel and all that stuff
Yeah,
around.
definitely get that.
And then the other is make sure you have internet access, because we should have just paid the $10 a day or whatever it was for our plan, because it made navigating, even though we had the GPS maps on our phones,
Yeah, it
it
just
made
made
the
it
dropping
harder
a
for
pin
me.
and sharing stuff.
why I didn't-
So just make sure you have access. That would be
Yeah,
the
the
only
international
thing to
plans,
let
yeah.
people. If future travelers, yes, make sure
If
you
you're
do that.
coming, get your own internet.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
there is,
get your own international plan.
there
for
is
sure.
Wi-Fi,
thing.
but then you got to find places.
Because
to-
you want that to help you navigate.
Yeah.
Because walking, you can get turned around there really quickly. If I'm not map
Yeah.
savvy, I don't have a map savant as if
Yeah,
you don't have a
that's-
map savant person with you. But that was because there's so many places, or you'd see a restaurant and go, oh,
Let's
I'm gonna
remember
go
that.
check that
Yeah.
one out
But
again.
also that lends itself
And
to
then
the
I have no-
spontaneity too,
Yeah.
because we
Well,
would
yeah.
see something and maybe go there and then
Yeah.
want to communicate with the rest of the group what you're doing.
Yeah, like
So
Yeah.
And then I didn't have a way to communicate.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was silly.
yeah, like the day Becky and I went and stopped at that bakery that had the wiener dog greeter. You know, it had cookies. It's like, why not? We're just
But
hanging
those
out.
would be the tips I would tell somebody thinking on this trip, which is a hell yes, do it, and
Yeah, just
Yeah.
have access. That helps.
So do you
little things,
think
yeah.
there's anything for you that like this trip, do you think it'll change how you show up in the USA? Like, do you think this trip changed how you might want to navigate your daily life? Is there anything that sort of, I don't know, came in for you that you're like, gosh, I want
Ask me
to
in a
adjust.
week.
Yeah.
I hadn't really thought about that. Yeah, of course I'd love to, but again, just the way our society is structured, I don't foresee that as an option in the near future for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But in a week, in a month, I don't know. That would be
Yeah.
an interesting thing to revisit.
It's a big question.
Uh-huh.
Because my first trip, it started shifting things for me. I started to question a lot of things that I'd never questioned before. Like, why am I in such a hurry all the time? Why don't I say yes more often?
Yeah.
You know, those kind of things.
I found I say no more often at home.
Yeah, but yes to the things that like you actually like your
Yeah.
heart calls to. That's, you know,
Yeah, like you say yes in Thailand. After my first trip, I came home. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
yeah,
And you piss people off
yeah,
because people have a lot of expectations, and I was like, yeah, I'm not.
and when you say, yeah, I'm not doing that, you mean like following the American culture, like the expectations
Not
that
even
are
American culture. 'Cause
fair.
I think that's too big.
That's true.
There's an expectation that people have.
expectations, yes.
Is you could say it's a culture, sure, but at the end of the day, there's one decision. Somebody's asking you something, and you can blame it on culture, but you get to say no.
Yeah,
Do you mean
yeah.
like activities or obligations?
All of it.
Okay.
I say no all the time. And my friends know. You know, hey, you want to do this? No, I don't.
Yep.
A lot of times I'll say it's not my top 100. Like, if it's really that important to you, I'll do it. But you're not even hitting my top 100, and I'm too busy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that. Why am I
I'd be
gonna?
farming coconuts.
I'd rather be farming coconuts. My new farm I didn't know existed.
This
Yeah.
is how we should be living, and I think
Yeah.
we've done a really good job of that in the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
If it's here's my it's either a hell yes, a yeah, or it's a no, and it sorts out the gray, and it's got to be really towards that hell yes, or I don't.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah.
We value our alone time. We value our time together, and we value how much time we spend with other people. It's got to be something to. It's got to be something in order to do it.
Yeah.
And I'll add too, for me, this is actually another step in my own transformative process, having retired 18 months ago, or becoming a gentleman of leisure, as I prefer to say. But part of that whole process, and Jody identified it correctly, is it's like for a lot of years I had to kind of put my own soul and my own life and interests on hold just to earn money for our family. And it's like I'm finally able to reconnect with that piece of me. And I've been saying no to people and a lot of things, but yes to the crazy stuff sometimes. And this just fit perfectly into what I've already started transforming into, which I don't know what it is, but it's a very relaxed guy.
Beautiful.
Very Renaissance guy.
It's your soul.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing
It's your
that.
soul.
Because transformation is what I'm
emotions.
all about. Yeah,
No
no,
emotions
I'm not
in-
hearing any emotions in that. Super stoked.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. There's some emotions. It's
know,
very
This feels like, yeah, this feels like a good place to wrap up. Is there any last little, like, kind of final thoughts you want to share, or shall we close
Favorite
it up?
part.
And yeah, what was your favorite part?
You know, I think the elephants may have been, but also just seeing the chaos of the streets. I mean, it was just, it was so cool. It's this organic, breathing thing of
Organized.
people and scooters and cars, and it's like you can't describe to people the rigid American mindset that everything has to follow a lane and be in a path, follow all these rules. It's like whatever. There's no rules. That was cool. That was relaxing in a lot of ways for me. It's like, oh yeah, I like this. It's like whatever.
A visual representation of go with the flow.
Yeah, pretty much.
For me, it's always the people. It's the conversations with people from other parts of the world. What do you think? What do you
Yeah.
know about? What are you curious about? The conversations and the people and the relationships that got built. I felt truly loved by the time. I told Kunea, I said, I don't think anybody's ever taken this good care of me in my entire life. I mean, it's
She has
just-
a way.
She has a way. You just, the connections.
Yeah, same. I don't know. How do you narrow it down? Yes, the feeling that everyone was just kind of like coming and going, and we were at home, like we were in the kitchen, and we were, like
We owned it.
yeah, and then like we'd have dinner together, and then like some other random people would just wander in, and it was just so. It felt so easy, like the connections, and also food. I appreciate that everybody here is like, pretty foodie based. Like everyone was willing to go outside their comfort zone. That was really fun. And also elephants. How do you say no to the elephants?
Yeah, that was huge, Jake.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. You got anything else you want to share, Dan?
Good.
All right. That's a wrap for today. Bye. Be you every day. Thanks
Bye.
for joining us.